Greetings. If you're new to the channel, my name is Candace Sanderson, and I want to welcome you. This video is part of my Throwback series where I share messages that I didn't use in any of my books. In many cases, it's the first time I've actually looked at these messages since I received them. I'm sharing from the front end of my journal. This is a message that occurred less than 2 months from that initial contact during that short commute to work. At the time I received this message, most of this was new to me. It was too early for me to trust the messages, so I was in the document and we'll see phase of experience. Later, of course, I was able to verify so much information that I came to realize the truth of many of the messages, but at this time, no, I was not there yet. In the previous episode, the messengers had talked about enlightenment for both humanity and our planet. In part, this was due to changes that our cosmic friends have made in their sister star, our sun. As a result, we would experience some side effects as Earth goes through what can, I guess, be called a reset. I like to think of it like getting a new computer, or maybe when you download a new operating system. You know how that goes. It takes a while for things to get back online and for it to become automatic. The computer or the new operating system has all these bells and whistles, but we're not familiar with them, so they just don't work right, or we don't know how to initiate them. It no longer remembers our passwords that were so automatic before. So the first time we go somewhere or open an app, we've got to look up the password and manually enter them, at least initially. But this is a reset with Earth's transition, just like it is with the computer resetting. And it takes a toll on us. This is how I see us, humanity, as we adjust to these new energy frequencies. Look at the huge reset that we've been going through in the last couple of years. The messengers say, though, that as we traverse this new terrain, these bumps in the road won't be as bothersome. Well, to me, that says there is hope, that we will adjust. That's survival, that's adaptation. The messengers were beginning to emphasize in this message the importance of energy and specific energy patterns that define not only us, but our planet. At this stage of my development, I certainly knew that plants and animals were alive, but I was less than 2 months from that mystical experience that I had had with the Royal Poinciana tree. That was back in August 28th of this year, 2013. And that's when I received my first message about a flower being a flower of energy. I kind of dismissed it, went on about my business, trying to get to work early. And then when I got to work, I got out of my car, headed toward the side entrance. This beautiful Royal Poinciana tree, a tree that I had passed 100 times, called me over. You can read about it in my book or watch some of my videos, or even the videos from the Reluctant Messenger Unleashed, that virtual book club hosted by Donna Rebido. We talk about it extensively there. Suffice it to say, meeting with that Royal Poinciana tree was the first mystical experience I'd ever had. But I walked away from that tree realizing that it was every bit as much alive as I was, not just in the sense that a tree grows and blooms, but a sentient being. It was capable of the full range of emotions as humans are. It was capable of communicating just as easily as we do. So now, 7 weeks later, still in 2013, the messengers are saying that communications take place through energy exchanges. I used to think that we communicated through talking and listening, but it's so much more than that. everything relates to energy and energy patterns. I begin the Reluctant Messenger with one of my all-time favorite quotes. This is from Nikola Tesla. He said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." I know that now, but back then, the messengers were spoon feeding me these concepts. So let's move on. This is the second message that I received on October 24th, 2013. It's short, just 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph: when observing those who have crossed over, the essence of that person's energy body is different. It has changed. That is all that has changed. At some point in time, everyone from the earth plane will evolve. Yes, we say evolve to an energy body that is of a finer nature. Remaining in the earth plane keeps the human body at a denser level. Early on in my channeling, I had begun to receive messages from people who had transitioned from this life. The messengers were once again spoon feeding me concepts to help me understand. Those who have crossed over are the same. It's only that their energy body is different. Not only different, they have evolved. For us on Earth to connect with others beyond the veil, it's really difficult to do with the physical body. That's why we often see communications with departed loved ones in the dream state. When dreaming, we still have a physical body, but we've pushed that aside. We've allowed it to rest comfortably in that bed or on that couch, wherever we fell asleep. When we're sleeping, our egos and judgments also sleep. We can do all sorts of crazy things during dreams, like walking through walls or flying. But we usually don't stop to judge our dreams. We don't say, hey, that's not possible. We just go with the flow and we allow things to unfurl in a manner in which they're supposed to. It's allowing our true essence, our soul or spirit, our energy body to take control, to take the helm. For those who are psychic, or maybe those who are mediums, or even those that are such wonderful meditators, they can bypass that dreaming stage to reach these states. They don't need to do that during their sleep or during dreams. But for most of us, the majority of people, our first contact with the departed loved one will often arrive during sleep. Think about it. It is a safe and comfortable common ground that allows the true essence, the spirit of both you and your loved one to be able to communicate. So let me return to the message. Those who have moved on to the next level have transitioned to a different energy body. That is all. This transition is not unlike the transition that Mother Earth is experiencing through the new energy waves she is receiving. However, it is a much slower process than when humans make that transition. Again, the message reiterates that those who have passed away have only transitioned to a different energy body. But now they bring up something that was relatively new for me back then. Again, only 7 weeks after I'd begun receiving messages. The messengers repeated this information many times and in many places before I began to really comprehend it. They're talking about a spiritual transformation that Earth is going through and that we as humanity are also experiencing. The process for this evolution, this transformation of Earth is much slower than what it is for individual people. Well, that certainly makes sense. My opening occurred during a 10-minute drive to work. It didn't take decades. It took minutes. But the messengers are introducing me to the larger picture the bigger picture. I was learning to see everything through the filter of energy. Everything consists of energy, and it's those energy patterns that define who we are. I had had that mystical experience with the Royal Poinciana tree just minutes after that first message downloaded during that morning commute. I learned that this tree was as alive as I was, capable of communicating and feeling just like me. And now I was no longer looking at Earth in the way I had before. I was beginning to see her as a living being also. Yep, this larger picture was beginning to unfold. So let me move to the final paragraph of the message. Different energy bodies occupy space in a manner that is different from how physical bodies take up space. Just as the majority of energy wave patterns are not discernible to humans in the limited senses they possess, the multitudes of energy patterns are present at all times. In reference to the previously mentioned radio analogy, humans can fine-tune their receptors in order to establish and maintain connections to other energy sources. This is a good example of how the messengers continue to weave relevance into the new messages. They had told me about our brain and how it acts like a radio tuner. In fact, I covered this in chapter 2, Good Vibrations, in The Reluctant Messenger. And I learned how we can begin to self-tune these mystical stations. It doesn't have to only occur during the sleep state. We can take the helm and begin to tune into whatever we need to. Again, this was demonstrating the energy basis of everything, not just objects like people, plants, or animals, but now I was realizing thoughts and emotions, they all have energy vibrations. We navigate the world through our 5 senses. And as a psychologist, if I couldn't measure something with my senses, it did not exist, not in my world. But now these divine connections have made the impossible possible. These messengers were telling me that we could go beyond the limits of our physical senses. We can learn to tap into these divine energy frequencies and indeed begin to learn the secrets of the universe that Nikola Tesla talked about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Right now, the new year is just hours away. Prepare yourself for this new year, 2022. It will be a wonderful year of balance, of finding your footing, finding your sea legs. Remember, spread a little joy and kindness. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to like and share and subscribe. So until next time.